Okay, without further ado, let me just tell Bala. Bala, let us not bullshit about this here.
Yeah, we'll catch the bull by its own, man. Whenever we get into the
Yes.
topic, man, which is Jallikattu.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
mean,
And the
Jallikattu is
bull,
again in focus. Yeah, sorry.
yeah, and the bull that we are talking about is not even Rahul Gandhi, by the way.
Yeah.
So
And not even the big bull, who is the flavor of the season after the series on Sony Lev, the scam.
yeah,
Not that big bull also. And Sensex is also having a huge bull run. We are not talking about those things at all. It's straight about Jallikattu, which is always
yeah,
the flavor of the season in Tamil Nadu around Pongal time.
yeah.
It's a huge
So
thing
what
in
is
these parts. Raj, yeah, you, because
yeah,
I am from these parts, you better ask me questions so that it will be easy for me to structure it easy.
yeah. So this time all the bull is in Bala's court. So let me let me
Oh,
start off. Let me start off by asking Bala. I mean, we all know what Jallikattu is. It's taming the bull. We'll leave it there. So, what is the controversy now? What just happened in your region? Actually, it's in your town, if I might say.
yeah, in my town, because right now I may reside in Chennai. I come from Madurai, which is where much of what Jallikattu happens. It's not, when I say Jallikattu, just one point about, it's not just about taming the bull. Taming the bull is certainly one part of Jallikattu. There is also something called Manju variety, where the bulls just run amok and people will run amok equally and try to tame it. That's a slightly a different variation of single bull being tamed by a single person, where a raging bull will be tamed by a clutch of people, a scrum of
So,
people.
yeah. So, just to put it in context, I'll just put a context around it. As always, if we are not discussing cricket, we are discussing movies. So, if imagine in Zindagi Na Milegi Dobara, Farhan Akhtar, Hrithik Roshan, and Abhay Deol had turned around and run after the bulls, that becomes Jallikattu. So,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's a good way of putting it. And another film reference can be Viramandi, which is now being rolled out on Amazon Prime, which is a very good movie from Kamal Hassan, and where there is a good experience of. I mean, you can get a good experience of real life experience of Jallikattu. That film really showcases that. And there is a old film Murattukale of Rajinikanth, which is a masala movie, but there is also a bit of Jallikattu in that. So forget about films. You to ask me about the controversies surrounding Jallikattu, because
yeah, yeah.
there is no real controversy in this year except the fact that Rahul Gandhi flew in and attended a Jallikattu yesterday in Madurai near uh, Avaniyapuram, which is pretty much near Madurai. So, but the controversy happened like a few years back when there was a ban on it, incidentally, which Congress government aided by DMK, which eventually went against their own ban. That's a different story. That's the whole politics of it, because they banned it, and eventually when the NDA government came into, when there was a huge hue and cry in Tamil Nadu, there was a huge protest in Tamil Nadu at Marina in Chennai. So it kind of all, there was a groundswell of opinion against the ban, and the usual words of Tamil pride and Tamil greatness were branded about. Of course, certainly Jallikattu is part of Tamil culture. There is no way of, I mean, our literature, uh, Tamil literature records a lot of things about Jallikattu. Those things are true. Those things are certainly part of Tamil culture. But the whole Tamil pride was bandied about. That was slightly unseemly. But eventually the ban was overturned, and now we still have it. But some of the questions that the human rights activists as well as animal rights activists they raise, they still stand right.
So
Those things.
I'm more worried about the BJP activists pointing out that Rahul Gandhi. I mean, why was Rahul Gandhi there if he knew that his party was the one which actually banned it? So I mean, is it a political scenario again now? Is it a political thing now? That is my worry now.
It's quite simple, man. It's just politics, because Tamil Nadu has a election coming in 5 months' time. So all this optics have to come out. It's not, perhaps if Rahul Gandhi are not done, there's some senior party leader. I mean, since it is being driven by DMK, you have got this. If ADMK had put out a show, you will have had a BJP leader flying in and standing there for photo op. I mean, one thing what was worrying about me for not just Rahul Gandhi at Jallikattu, because there is a huge lot of people without mask. Rahul Gandhi, I mean, to be fair to him, he was wearing his mask. DMK leader, Udayanithi Stalin's son, he was without a mask. What kind of a message he was trying to send, that was even more problematic for me. And you are right about this, Raj. This is a political statement because this is the party which kind of banned. The Supreme Court kind of banned it, but this was the party that didn't go on appeal. It eventually fell. They had to come up with a kind of a strange rule, and eventually the NDA government had to upturn this. That was his typical politics. If, Congress had to, because of the pressure, they had to upturn the ban. That's a different story. But certainly, Rahul Gandhi flying into Tamil Nadu to watch Jallikattu was certainly all about politics.
So, which brings me to the next question. I mean, does Congress even have a presence there? Why is he going after the bull vote?
Have obviously, but it is riding piggyback on or bully back on DMK. That's why he was sharing a dais with not even with Stalin. He was sharing a dais with Stalin's son, who is now projected as you obviously know the DMK politics. It's very dynamic. Son, father, grandfather, you know it. The entire, it's deja vu inducing. But you are right about Congress not having a presence, but it needs to improve its presence. And what better way than Rahul Gandhi? I mean, you can't get a bigger leader in Congress than Rahul Gandhi. So he was there for all the photo opportunities, though it was unseemly, but he was there. But the problem is, Jallikattu is violent. See, the problem is, in these days, you have, because people get killed. They get maimed, they get injured, they also get killed. Every year we have at least 10 to 15 deaths. That's what the record says. So 10 to 15 deaths are not something to be taken lightly. Those things are important. A lot of people get injured, and the way these bulls are reared for this bullfight, and when they are let into the field, there is something called body vassal, which is the entrance. The name is what. Before they are let into it, the bulls are allowed to get raised through a lot of dubious means, because you know it. You can how can you
so we can
talk
about it. Yeah, see, we can talk about it. I mean, the worst thing that forget about hitting the bull and all. The worst thing they do it. They sometimes even feed it alcohol, arak.
Sometimes, lot of times.
Yeah. So this is where the problem comes. See, when you are doing, when a sport is played as a sport with adequate precautions, this won't happen. Here, what happens is it's not controlled, and it is sort of just played by people of the village. They just gather together, and whoever has the authority just sort of decides this is what is going to happen. And Bala, you said 15 deaths are not trivial. Even one death is not trivial. As far as I'm concerned, even one person getting killed, see, accidents do happen now, but then you can't sort of get into this scenario where you are sort of calling on accidents to happen. That is where I have a problem. Plus,
you are right.
I agree. See, equestrian is a sport. I mean, we can always say it is cruelty to animals. Equestrian is a sport. So, I mean, this is also a sport. We keep it that way. The thing is that when you sort of get into this, the illegal part of it, I mean, it's like feeding, alcohol to a bull is not a good idea. Feeding alcohol to a human being is not a good idea. Forget about bulls. So, although I feed on it. So, that's a different story. But then that is a voluntary choice. So I think that is where the thing is. And politicizing something like this, I don't know whether it is even, it even makes sense in these troubled times. That is where I have a problem. Right?
You're right. But only part is, it's not just the DMK or the Congress which are politicizing it. Every party in the fray in Tamil Nadu, they are politicizing it in some manner or the other. So
yeah, I agree.
The problem is Jallikattu is certainly part of Tamil culture. We are not belittling that fact. But having said that, in a modern world, you need to have certain tricks, because just as in Deepavali, when you have gone slow on cracker bursting, because in the last 50 years, cracker bursting has been part of Diwali's ecosystem. But when experts raise a question about ecology and environment, people have cut down on that. Just similarly, we need to have a rethink on how these bulls are being let out into the field, and how bring about certain amount of safety. Introduce certain amount of safety for the people who are getting into the sport.
Yeah. So I think we'll end with that, because at the end of the day, every sport is dangerous, but there are precautions taken.
Exactly.
So Yeah, so I think we need to just become aware of that part and say, you know what, government needs to probably step in and say, you know what, we will. I mean, this needs to be allowed because, like I said, it is. I mean, like you said, and I agree with it. There is a certain tradition which you don't let go of.
Exactly.
I mean, it's great, but use it as a tradition. I'm sure that bulls weren't fed alcohol 50 years back. That is my point. So where
Fair
it
enough.
becomes a sign of machismo, and then you say, okay, the more dangerous the bull
That's
is,
the right
more I
word, Raj.
can. Yes,
That's
that is where
that
we
is
have a
good.
problem. I think that is where we have a problem. I think sport is a sport. When no other sport allows consumption of external. I mean, in fact, I mean external stuff. I mean, ask the guys like Shane Warne, who took a diuretic and was out for 1 year. So you are not allowed to do that. So why this? If you are saying it's a sport, why have artificial means to increase the fun? Increase the fun. I mean, it's not funny to watch at
And there
all.
are a lot of other issues also. I mean, typically in a state like Tamil Nadu, there are also caste clashes because of that. One caste,
Yeah.
say, I mean, typically, I don't want to go into it, but there are a lot of other issues also.
Yeah. So we'll leave it there. I mean, if you want to keep it as a sport, then sports need to have rules, and those rules need to be administered. I think we'll stop it there.
Fair enough.
Great. Thanks, Bala. Thanks. That's the week for this week. We'll see you next week, and hope you have a great weekend, and all the best for next week. And
Yeah,
the vaccines are here one more time. Bye.
absolutely. Bye.